He is risen.
As he said,
Alleluia.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
What the heck? What the heck?
Listen, okay? That was a lot of bottled up energy.
That was so much. There was so much. I have so many feelings right now.
It's Easter joy.
Okay.
Stop stamping out my Easter joy. Anyway, have you missed us? I bet you have. I think what they were thinking was, wait, Lent's over. Lent is supposed to be over. Why are these people back?
No longer in our penitential season, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, he is risen, as he said. Alleluia. And we are back after a long hiatus, probably the longest since we started the Ye Olde podcast under another name. Catholic on Purpose, copyright. Anyway.
No.
So we got some splaining to do.
Yeah. This was not planned. This was not even a little
This
bit.
was not, we could have spun this like we were being very austere and we retreated into the mountains and we got off all internet. Oh, sorry, into the desert. And we were just being super holy and not connecting at all. But that would be a lie, which is a sin, so we won't go there. We did have some interesting things happen. Part of the title of this podcast is Our Longest Lent. And you're like, but Casey, Lent was during the beginning of COVID last year. And 2021 said, you think that was bad? Hold my beer. We got to do it. Okay?
Hold my beer.
Hold my bird. Okay? And, he did. And we held it. So... We had a baby. Well, she had a baby.
As I recall, Casey just complained a lot. I'm not sure.
Fun fact, 12 weeks early. Not really supposed to come that early, come to find out. So it was a thing. Got a good stay in the hospital.
Yes,
almost a couple weeks prior
almost
to
3 weeks.
The baby coming.
Was in the hospital, yeah.
And after. So I'm sorry you didn't get any live from the hospital episodes of the Baptist Catholic Show.
Sure, I'm not. I'm sorry, y'all. I like you. But I don't really care for when there's too many people in the hospital room with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. Especially a virtual audience. Yeah. So anyway, yes, so you want to give the full name?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
sure.
Sure, you're the mom. So
it's Ignatius.
Ignatius.
After...
Two people.
Yeah, two saints, right? St. Ignatius of Antioch and St. Ignatius of Loyola.
Which St. Ignatius of Antioch was important to us because some of his quotes and writings were helpful for us as we started to discern becoming Catholic, right? He was one of them that said, he used the word Catholic, for the first time. Well, maybe not the first time, but that we have recorded. It made it seem like the church had been called Catholic for really early on, and a lot of things about the Eucharist, etc. Yeah.
And he's martyred, right? And then Saint Ignatius of Loyola, right, the founder of the Jesuits,
Spanish,
right, from Spain, and actually from the Basque Country in Spain, which has a special place in our hearts too. So. So Ignatius, and then let's get to the middle names. Let's just jump right in there.
So we are active. We are in the hospital and make this last minute move to make this child's life miserable. Okay,
because Ignatius wasn't enough.
Ignatius wasn't enough. Oh, listen, the amount of people who reacted to that name like, oh, that's different. Okay, that was the nice one. I remember one girl, and she's Catholic too. She said, what did she say? She said something like, well, that's a interesting name, or something. I don't know. It was just a comment that was a somewhat nice way of saying,
that's weird.
That's weird. And the amount of the nurses, going through this that have had to ask us, how do you pronounce his name, has been ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been trying to actually think about, how do they think
Ignatius.
Yeah.
It's like from Sparta or something. This is Sparta, Ignatius. Anyway.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out. It actually, so randomly, like we have like some social security things that we have to do for this baby. So they called me to do an interview, and the woman's like, I just want you to know that I love your baby's name. It's so strong. And I was like, there you go.
Exactly, lady.
I don't know how you're pronouncing it.
You and that other person really like this name.
And everybody else is like, oh.
Okay. It does provide opportunities, though. One of the male nurses asked me, well, he knew it. He knew Ignatius because he said he had a roommate in college who was very Catholic. Obnoxiously so. He kind of made the thing. I'm like, hey, we'd be best friends.
We probably secretly are.
We probably are. I don't know. But he asked, so why'd you want to go with St. Ignatius? And I was like, oh. So I got to talk to him a little bit about St. Ignatius of Loyola, which was cool. But anyway, middle names. Crammed them in. He got 3 of them. Not
because
total.
He's so small.
He got 3 middle names.
Yeah. He's so small. We had to make up for it somewhere, right? Yeah. Like he was born just under 2 pounds, so he really needed like something
to help bulk
even
him up.
Right.
So first one is
Judah.
Judah, as in Old Testament, one of the 12 tribes, one of the 12 sons of Jacob, aka Israel. And one little, and this would be kind of in the how section, but just a little resource or something that you might do or consider doing, a suggestion. Not that you really care, but we're going to tell you anyway, is to go to your podcast app. And of course, if you're not subscribed to this one, what are you doing? I mean, we come out with podcasts once every quarter. So, edge of your seat. But another one that comes out every single day, which I can't even imagine, but because every single day is Father Mike Schmidt's Bible in a Year podcast. Yes. A lot of you all probably are doing that or listen to it. Excellent. And one of the things that kind of inspired this was him when he was talking about Judah. Of course, Judah means praise. Right. And when the Israelites were being led by Moses through from Egypt and wilderness and finally to the promised land, right? Judah would always be encamped on the eastern side, and Judah would always go out first, whether it was just to move to a new location, whether that was to go into battle. Judah would go up first. And to think about the symbolic, not just like physically how they moved up first, but also that during whatever situation, we call upon the Lord, our praise should go up first. And as we were thinking about this and this stressful, anxiety-riddled time that we're going through, praise needs to go up first. Mm-hmm. Praise during the storm, praise, and we didn't get it right the whole time, right? We weren't like levitating, I had to pull Aaron back onto the hospital bed a few times. Get down, get down. Praise can go up, but like, we gotta stay down. Like, it wasn't that. It wasn't like that. We would just have little epiphanies here and there. Yeah. We thought Judah would be a great middle name. Then there's the next one.
Grant, which is boring. Sorry.
It's not boring.
It's Casey's.
It's a family name. It's a strong family name, okay?
It's Casey's middle name.
And my father's middle name. And my grandfather's middle name. So, and my firstborn son's middle name. So we just thought, hey, you have 2 boys. Let's just give him the middle name too.
Right, because it's not fair just because John Paul was born first that he's the only one with it. Like, that's not right.
And did Ignatius have enough middle names? Of course not. He needs that one too. Then finally in the middle name section, and big surprise on the last name. I'll keep you on. Okay, so what we got? Joseph. Who saw that one coming? Year of St. Joseph. He was born in the month of St. Joseph, which is March. So,
10 days before the
feast of St. Joseph. So St. Joseph, we're going to talk about him for a second as we transition now to talk a little bit about our experience. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we get back on a more regular schedule now with our podcast.
I know Casey's been like, we need to podcast. I'm like, I had surgery like 2 days ago, bro. Like, can I get out the hospital first?
It almost was a solo podcast. I'm like, medical leave. Okay. Anyway, So Saint Joseph. Let me just camp out with Saint Joseph for just a second. So if you didn't
Actually, let me camp out with Saint Joseph for the rest of my life.
Yes, please. So if you didn't know, Pope Francis called this liturgical year the year of Saint Francis. Wow.
Whoa.
Pope Francis, Saint Francis, Frank. I don't know. Saint Joseph. Which, if you don't know who Saint Joseph is, hang out. We'll tell you more about him some other time. But that's the foster father of Jesus. If you didn't know, so foster father of Jesus, Saint Joseph. Okay. So we decided before all this crazy stuff went haywire that as a part of our Lenten, and of course we said this in previous episodes, that we were kind of doing this 90-day challenge, which encompassed Lent, and we were doing our own kind of thing. That we were going to do the consecration to Saint Joseph by Father Donald, right? Donald Calloway. Father Calloway, okay? He has a great book, which is a 33-day consecration to St. Joseph. So we were doing that, and some things start happening. We noticed, of course, Erin's blood pressure had been kind of elevated throughout this pregnancy. And then one day, I think it was on a Monday, we had decided we're going to start this Holy Cloak Novena, which is it's a big it's not a 9-day novena, it's a 30-day novena.
Right, and Father Calloway recommends it in the book.
And so we recommend it to you. But it's a 30-day novena, very, very long prayers each day. We found out.
So whoa. Casey's like, we recommend it, but get ready.
Get ready.
Be sure you're ready for it.
Prep yourself for the time it takes and the graces that will come. Okay,
right.
So the Monday we started, and our specific intention was for her blood pressure, right, to come down, to be whatever, something, Lord's will, obviously, but St. Joseph, please pray for this particular thing.
Yes.
Tuesday morning rolls around. How do you feel?
I feel wonderful.
The best she's felt.
Wonderful. I'm not exhausted. I cannot tell you, y'all. I've been exhausted this entire pregnancy. It has just zapped me completely. And I could blame that on it being the fourth kid. I work night shift. All these things. I'm pretty sure it's none of those things, though. No. Pretty sure it's not.
No.
So I wake up Tuesday and feel wonderful.
And then you weren't going to check your blood pressure, right? She had been.
I had been
watching it.
I had checked it the Friday before because I was just checking it a few times a week. And so I check it Tuesday morning, and it's
crazy.
I don't want to put a number on it, but it's 170s, 180s over 110s, which
that's not putting a number on it at all.
Okay. I don't know the exact number, but and that's what it was in the office.
Which is not normal if you work in medicine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's
bad.
It's bad, and it's
it's time to go to the hospital. Bad.
So I did go to the hospital. Bad.
Which hospital?
St. Joseph.
Those of you who can't see me, by the way, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, why aren't you doing that?
Wow, 2 plugs in one episode.
Anyway, but you get these looks into the camera and stuff that are.
It's a little bit like watching The Office.
Yeah, it's very much like that. Okay, the cringiness and everything. All right. So you do that. You go to St. Joseph's Hospital, which just happens to be where you work as well.
It's where I work, and I've got
So she went to St. Joseph's Hospital, and we rode this thing out there for a little while. We had to get transferred to a university hospital in town.
Because their NICU is a little bit higher acuity. Right, because... Oh, let me put this in perspective. So, I was 25 weeks pregnant when my blood pressure got up and had to go to the hospital. So, that's real early.
Yeah. It's usually, this is just the literature I've read, about 40 weeks is when it's full term. I don't know.
Yeah.
They may change that. I don't know.
Casey keeps acting like he's a medical professional through all this.
I basically am. Went through orientation. Didn't make it to the actual classes.
None of that's true. That's false advertising. No, truly.
Never did. I walked through the nursing building a few times. Had a girlfriend that was a nurse. Was going to be a nurse. Anyway. So anyhow, what happened next?
Anyway, so that's why we got transferred there. Because at 26 weeks, my blood pressure's out of control. Cannot.
And through all this, I just want to tell you what the most frustrating thing about this was the accommodations for me.
I knew you were going to say something so stupid.
But here's the thing. Okay, it depended though. Really, I got to sleep on lots of different surfaces. Okay. I slept on... I'm starting to wonder about what they think a couch is in a hospital. Like, oh, man.
I cannot believe he's talking about this right now.
No, it's important. The people want to know. So I slept on a really rubbery couch one time, which probably wasn't good for my spine. I don't know. And then we got transferred. I end up on the surgical bed, which kind of does this. Again, if you're not on YouTube, sorry you're missing this, but I'm doing stuff with my hands. It's a camera. So, like...
There's a hump
flat,
in the middle.
And then a hump in the middle. And like, that's not good for my back. Like, who built this with me in mind? And there was one room that we went to. By the way, we were at this second hospital, and we transferred rooms, 7 times? No joke. That's not inflating numbers. I think it's exactly 7 times.
It was 7 times.
This is a holy number, so maybe keep that in your back pocket for what it's worth. So, but there was one room, I actually slept in a actual bed. That was nice.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then we got transferred back to the anyway. So this is all going down. She's having medical issues apparently. I'm having my own issues. My left side's hurting a little bit.
Oh my God.
And so anyway, thanks be to God, we're on the other side of this. So at 27 and 5,
27 weeks and 5 days,
baby comes.
Yeah.
Obviously emergency.
It's not
emergency, but it was a C-section. It was planned out or everything. It wasn't crazy, which we were glad for. That was an answered prayer. We didn't want it to be like wheeled in at 3 a.m. and okay, because it was nerve-wracking enough. If you've never gone through something like that, it was hard on me. Okay, and so anyway,
was your left side really hurting you that bad?
It was rough. I get through it, though. I may have to go to therapy later. I don't know. Okay. So our baby, Ignatius, is still in NICU. So we're making treks, tag teaming back and forth because, somebody's got to watch the kids or the other one goes. And you can't go back and forth multiple times every day because of COVID restrictions and all this stuff. So we appreciate your prayers for continued
healing
and resilience and not getting too short.
And thanks be to God. He's done so well so far. I mean, we've got still a long time ahead, but...
Well, it's times like these, too, which really make you aware of the support that you really had, that you didn't even maybe know that you had, right? People coming out of the woodwork to help you. I mean, there's a lady that we know sort of well, but not for very long, who provided us with, 2 or 3 meals and then... got us a gift card somewhere. I mean, people bringing meals to the house, sending us gift cards and things for groceries, for eating out, and if you're listening to this and you're one of those people, thank you. May God richly bless you because it's.
I'm gonna work on thank you cards, but
I'll just send out an email. That's fine. That's good.
I'm not gotten there yet.
Maybe a group text. I don't know. God bless y'all. Thanks. Casey. Okay, Baptist Catholic. Okay. No. You can watch our show on YouTube. Go subscribe now.
Anyway, it's been really amazing. All of our friends and family that have just helped out so much. I mean, friends that have watched our kids, so I can go to follow-up appointments and all of the things that. Yeah, it's been insane, and we had Ignatius baptized, a couple of weeks ago? In the hospital, and...
With a little syringe of holy water.
Yeah.
Squirted on his forehead. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
and just so many people... We did a Zoom call for it, and so many people were on there, and just knowing that, this was not maybe what I had planned, because... I gotta tell y'all, I'm a planner, and especially when it comes to baptisms, love to plan those out. So I had planned it for the end of June, maybe Feast of St. Peter and Paul, I think I had in mind. And that obviously did not happen, even a little bit. So it was just...
And baptisms are one of those things you can get a redo at, by the way. I mean, when we were Baptist, yeah. But not so much now that it's the sacrament.
Right. So it just, having them there still and supporting and everything, it meant so much to us. Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, it just our longest Lent, but the Easter joy has been awesome. You know, we're still going through some stuff or whatever, but it's, you know, we've come out on the other side of this thing. You know, baby's making good progress.
Well, and even that's the thing. I think that's been my big takeaway in why I really pushed for Judah as a middle name, because like, we didn't know what the outcome was going to be at all. Like, especially the reason I ended up having him was that he started to not tolerate the pregnancy. Like, I had already not been tolerating
For a
it.
while.
So, but we were managing. We were getting by. But then he started not tolerating it. And that's a very scary place to be as a mom. Because you have no control over that. But it was good. I mean, good to come to that realization that really, do you ever have control? No. And regardless of how anything turns out, like, this has got to be a praise moment, whatever happens.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, wouldn't do it again. But, you know, God allows certain things to happen, and of course, He, in His providence, He writes straight with crooked lines, right?
Right.
And one of the things that, like you just said, that came out of this was that we are not in control. And we have to turn over the control that we think we have to the Lord. And it's just so perfect that it's going along with, you know, Saint Joseph. And reflecting on him during that time and thinking about how he was content to step out of the limelight and just do whatever God said, right? Came to him in a dream and said, "Get up, go, take the child and his mother to Egypt." He did it. Yeah. He didn't even respond as Moses did, or a lot of the patriarchs who were, you know, up there who said, "Lord, why me?" And, "No, I can't do this." You know, Lord, he said, okay. He trusted not in his own self. Like, yes, I can do this. It was, I'm surrendering everything over to you, Lord. I trust you.
Right. And I think that's important. Like, surrendering to God's election. You know what I mean? Like,
He picked me. He didn't mess up.
Right.
He's God.
Right. he has put you in a situation for a reason, and live it. Like, live it the way that He expects you to. I think that's
part, in reflecting on this, particularly for this podcast, you think about, it's not like we're going to blow up. But it's like, you know what? There's a little impact that can be made by this, and if the Lord wants to use it, so be it. And there's, obviously, we talk about how you can be down on yourself and think, "Oh, I'm not an expert. Why should I do this? Well, I don't need to be talking because who cares about you know what I have to say?" And that's probably true. But the Lord can use you if you'll just give Him, you know, what you got and say, "Lord, whatever you want to do, I'm here, and please use me.
Absolutely.
Please use whatever I have." So I just, you know, another thing that I took away from this, we were both in these 90-day programs, and we both kind of were at the leading ends of them both, you know, leading them and bringing people in. And I know I was doing a lot of promo work for the Exodus 90 group here locally, and you know, I probably wouldn't have said it out loud, but there was a part of me that thought, yeah, I'm going to lead these guys, and I've been through it a few times, and these are new people, they've never done it before, and really it's not that hard for me, you know. And I told the guys, you know, after this mess that went on, you know, I kind of inflated myself up to be kind of like mini Moses. Like, "Come, children, I will lead you to the promised land. Depart the waters," you know. I would never have said that out loud.
Actually, he would to me.
Would've. Yeah. Aaron, I'm basically mini Moses. Okay, no. But to realize going through this, and those guys like piled in with their prayers and their support, and seeing, oh, I wasn't needed for this, right? Or, you know, I'm not the linchpin on which everything, you know, kind of holds together. It's the other way around. I needed this, right?
Yeah.
It didn't need me. Same thing. God doesn't need us, but He has elected to desire our participation.
Right.
He desires our yes, right? He waited for Mary to say, right, be it done unto me according to thy word.
Right.
So he wants that from us as well. And I just kind of realized that after this and now, kind of regretting not being closer to St. Joseph.
Right.
You know, he, obviously our Lord God, but the Blessed Virgin Mary, you know, it's becoming Catholics. You got to get your card punched for the Marian dogmas, right? You like Mary? Yeah, you can come in. All right. But you know, as a Protestant and even as a Catholic, you know, sometimes we overlook St. Joseph, and he has a special place. You know, he's first among the saints after Mary.
Right.
Right. He's the holiest of all the saints after the Virgin Mary. So, and he wants to be our spiritual father, and God wants to, you know, bring him in to your life. Anyway, so some practical tips before we wrap up this episode. Yeah. Number 1, consecrate yourself to St. Joseph during the year of St. Joseph. Go get the book by Father Calloway. Or there might be other versions, but that's a really good one. At least
one other version I know.
It's a really good one. It does a good job of tying in a lot of different things, historical apparitions and teachings throughout papal encyclicals, etc. on St. Joseph and his role and his importance, and really does a good job of highlighting why we need St. Joseph right now as a church and in the world. We need his intercession. We need his protection now. So do that. And then, speaking of St. Joseph, May 1st is another special feast day of St. Joseph the Worker. Yeah.
Yeah, so the way we celebrate Joseph things, so like the March 19th was the big solemnity, right, of St. Joseph. We usually do a manly meal.
Manly meal.
Yeah.
Which is like Brussels sprouts.
No,
kale.
It's usually steak. And potatoes, yeah.
Stereotypical, really.
But usually for St. Joseph the Worker specifically, I make a Yule log, which sounds silly, but I make it look like a piece of wood because St. Joseph the Worker is always like carving something, right? A carpenter. So that's what I usually do. And then we usually try to pray for male vocations, whether that's into the priesthood or going into marriage, whatever that looks like, but praying for men. Just that St. Joseph would be an example, because if you're a husband and you're following St. Joseph's example, you're doing it right. If you're a priest and you're following St. Joseph's example, you're doing it right. If you
can't go wrong.
Yeah, if you're single or, you know, anywhere on that spectrum, like you can just follow St. Joseph.
Do no wrong with St. Joseph.
Yeah.
So, with that said, thank you all. I'm sure there have been a lot that are listening who have prayed for us, who were anxiously awaiting the return of the Baptist Catholic podcast.
I think probably that's not true.
Aaron, we just talked about how God can use this podcast, so please don't be hating.
You're true. You're right.
Really? That's so right. No, but seriously, thank you all.
If y'all could keep Casey's left side in your prayers.
Come to think of it. So if we're getting excited, you know, that we're gearing up for interviews, folks. Mm-hmm. We're gearing up for interviews. So if you haven't, you know, what do you call that when you follow a podcast? Subscribe. When you said it
like 15 times.
I was thinking that was only for the videos, but you're right. So subscribe to the podcast. But if you're on the podcast, you're listening to the podcast, go over to YouTube and look for Baptist Catholic, and you'll be able to see some probably nicer looking faces on there pretty soon, not just mine. Okay? So, and Aaron's. Okay?
Thanks.
Until next time, my friends, we will see you right back here on the Baptist Catholic Show.